Dr. Aftab, listening to me?
I think Dr. Aftab has not yet joined.
Yeah, he is joining. He is joining. Just a minute. Dr. Aftab? Dr. Aftab? My friends, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
You are audible, sir, but Dr. Aftab is not,
Yes,
I
sir.
think,
Hello, Dr. Aftab? Aftab, sir? Okay. So my friends, in fact, Dr. Aftab is unable to join. So I think I will introduce myself and start the session, right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think there is some connectivity issue. Today it was raining in Aligarh. I think that's why we are getting some problem in being connected. So, myself, Professor Sajid Jamal, I'm a professor in the Department of Education. And the topic that has been given to me, an overview of Indian knowledge system. So, what is Indian knowledge system, and particularly what's the contribution of Indian knowledge system in various fields? And what's the importance of IKS, or what's the relevance of IKS? So all those things we will discuss in this session. So my friends, one request to all of you, please be interactive, please be responsive in my session, because meanwhile I'll be asking some questions and I expect that you people will respond. So this is a NEP 2020 sensitization workshop. Definitely first few slides, I think two or three slides related to NEP 2020, and particularly on those aspects of NEP 2020 which have some, you can say, bearings, or which have some relations with this Indian knowledge system. And then I will come to Indian knowledge system. So I'm quite sure you can see my slide. Can you see my slide, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So I have framed some objectives for this session, and these objectives are mentioned on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, any one of you, please read the slide.
May I?
Sure.
The objectives of this session, be familiarized with the relevance, role, and importance of Indian knowledge system.
Right.
Be acquainted with the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the fields of philosophy, mathematics, public administration and governance, and science and technology.
Right.
Become efficient in integrating Indian knowledge system in the present education system.
Right.
Be sensitized towards various components of holistic health.
Right.
Feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and traditions.
Right. Who are you, sir?
Dr. Ashraf here, sir.
Dr.
Ashraf, Mohammed
Ashraf.
Ashraf.
Right. Ashraf, sir, what do you teach?
I teach historical studies with historical studies at Lovely Professional University.
Okay, Dr. Ashraf. Thank you. So these are the objectives of my lesson. Definitely, as far as possible, I will try to familiarize you people with the relevance, role, and importance of Indian knowledge system. I will try to acquaint you people with the contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly in the fields of philosophy, mathematics, public administration and governance, and science and technology. I'm quite sure after the moment the session will be over, you'll be efficient in integrating IKS in the present education system, because whatever the subjects you teach, in every subject, there is some contribution of Indian knowledge system. So you'll be able to integrate IKS in your subject that you teach. Definitely, I will try to sensitize you people towards various components of holistic health. And finally, I'm quite sure that you will feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and traditions. Now, as I mentioned, before I'm coming to IKS, first, let's start with NEP 2020 and how this National Education Policy 2020 is different from the other policies. I mean, we had another policy 34 years back, National Education Policy 1986, another policy 1968, and there are so many educational documents. So how this NEP 2020 is different from the others? It is this vision of NEP 2020 which makes it different from the other policies. So this vision has been clearly written on this slide. I'm quite sure you people are very active on social media and you all have gone through the document of National Education Policy 2020. So definitely you know the vision, but still I have deliberately kept it on this slide so that you may refresh your memories. So I would like to request any one of you to please read this slide. My friends, please read it.
Yes, sir. May I read this?
Sure.
Okay. So this is Farah from Aligarh. I teach in Women's College.
Yeah.
So vision of NEP 2020. The vision of the policy is to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen.
Thank you. Farah ma'am, what do you teach?
I teach history.
History. Okay, Farah ma'am. So very clearly read by Farah ma'am, and I think it's clearly mentioned on the slide. So there is no need to explain. I mean, if you see the vision of NEP 2020, in my opinion, this vision of NEP 2020 makes it different from the other policies. No clear-cut vision of any such policy has ever been mentioned as it is mentioned in this policy. Now, coming to those points which have some relations with IKS or, there are so many things that have been mentioned in National Education Policy 2020, and these have been derived from Indian knowledge system. So 8 points I have mentioned on this slide, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. So any one of you, please read the slide. My friends.
So I think I was just waiting for others to respond so that everyone has a chance to read the slides.
Sure.
If nobody is reading, then I would like to go.
Sure, sir. Please read.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. That's number one. Number two is flexibility. Number three is no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. Number four is multidisciplinary and holistic education. Fifth is emphasis on conceptual understanding. Sixth is developing ethical, human, and constitutional values. And seventh is respect for diversity and the local context. Eighth is seamless continuum of education from one level to
other. Right. Who are you, sir?
Dr. Ashraf again is.
Okay, Dr. Shah. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. So these are the 8 points, around which you will find that somehow it has root in Indian knowledge system. So first one, of course, we all are teachers, and I'm quite sure all of you will agree with me that every of our student definitely is blessed with some unique potentials, unique capabilities. So the most difficult aspect of this is that we are unable to identify it, unable to recognize it. So the job of the education, the role of the education is to foster those unique capabilities with which a student has been born. But the difficult aspect is that we are unable to recognize. So first, recognize, identify, and foster the unique capabilities of each student. And if you see the ancient education system, somehow this provision was there. I mean, education was very much individualistic in nature. And the great teachers of that time, definitely they tried to recognize, identify, and foster those unique capabilities with which students were blessed. Then flexibility in this policy, so many things have been said about flexibility. I mean, if you talk about multiple entry and multiple exit and credit transfer and, you know, multidisciplinarity, I mean, so many things. So definitely these are the concepts related to flexibility. So this policy talks about flexibility, and again, this flexibility has the root in Indian knowledge system. Then comes the third point that's very important: no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. So this is the point on which I wanted to take your opinion. So what you have understood through this point, my friends? My friends, please respond. My friends, listening to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So can you elaborate? Third point?
Actually, sir, I think that we had that watertight compartment difference between the science
Yeah.
and arts.
Definitely.
So they were considered quite different, domains. But when it comes to the practicality of the life, they are both needed to a large extent. It's not that one is futile and the other is important. Nothing. I think this policy has taken cognizance of this fact, and that's why equal importance will be given to these arts as well as science streams.
Right. Right. So you see, in the ancient time, knowledge was treated as a unified whole. So if you see all those teachers who used to teach Vedas, they used to teach music, they used to teach philosophy, they used to teach mathematics, they used to teach medicine. I mean, knowledge was treated as a unified whole. And later on, you know, this knowledge was fragmented and watertight compartmentalization of the knowledge took place, you know. So very strictly we have divided that these subjects, they come under the category of arts, these subjects come under the category of science, and further we have divided the curricular as well as extracurricular activities as well. So most of the time we focus on the bookish knowledge, but you know, if you see the success of a man, a successful man, so only bookish knowledge is not sufficient, or only high IQ is not sufficient. Somehow you have to have so many other qualities like leadership qualities, patience, devotion, commitment, certain kind of emotional intelligence, social intelligence, all those things are needed. So this policy talks about that this hard separation between arts and sciences, and of course between curricular and extracurricular activities, should be broken. There should not be any hard separation. And again, this has the root in the ancient Indian knowledge system. Then comes multidisciplinarity and holistic education. So what is a multidisciplinary education? What is a holistic education? What's your opinion, my friends? My friends?
I think, sir,
What is
when
this?
it comes to
Yeah,
yes,
please speak.
when it comes to multidisciplinary, this team, it actually it has an integrating aim, and and holistic education, it means the different aspects that are around the personality of a student, they must be addressed. That's what I think out of it, sir.
Okay. A holistic education basically is that education which takes care of your all-round development. And what is all-round development? It includes your physical development, mental development, moral development, emotional development, spiritual development. I mean, so many aspects. But the modern education system basically just takes care of one aspect of development, and that is mental development. So it neglects physical development, it neglects emotional and moral and social and of course spiritual development. So that is a holistic education. And similarly multidisciplinary, I mean, somehow you know, that watertight compartmentalization should be broken, and we have to study any complex topic keeping in view the viewpoint of various disciplines. So that is multidisciplinary. So this policy talks about multidisciplinary and holistic education, and again it has the root in Indian knowledge system. Then emphasis on conceptual understanding. Whatever the knowledge we are giving, somehow let them gain, let them have the knowledge, and let them utilize it, let them apply it in their real life. Then developing ethical, human, and constitutional values, respecting for diversity and local context, and seamless continuum of education from one level to other. So we have elementary level, secondary level, senior secondary level, undergraduate level, postgraduate level, so many level. So there should be a seamless continuum. So somehow all these points have root in Indian knowledge system. Now, what is IKS? So for the sake of clarity in my presentation and keeping in view the diversity of my participants, I have clearly defined the three terms separately so that you can see on the slide. So I'd like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, please read the slide. My friends listening to me?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
please.
this is what is IKS?
Yeah.
Indian indigenous sources of knowledge generated by the Indian society, such knowledge synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians.
Right.
And next point is knowledge. Knowledge obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situations, facing problems, and coming up with the means of solving them.
Right.
And system, a structured methodology and a classification scheme to access the available corpus of knowledge, the interconnection between the part of the knowledge in the classification framework. I'm so sorry, sir, because I'm connecting my this online session with my phone. So screen बहुत ही छोटी है. That is why I'm reading like this. I'm so sorry for that.
No problem. Who are you, ma'am? Farah, ma'am?
Yes, Farah, ma'am.
Okay. No problem. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So separately, I have defined the three terms. Indian, as ma'am has just read it, indigenous sources of knowledge generated by the Indian society. And the moment I am saying Indian society, so not of today's India, I mean the undivided India, Akhand Bharat. So such knowledge which has been generated, synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians. And what is knowledge? So obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situations. So at this juncture of time, I would like to take your opinion, my friends. It is said that life is the best teacher. So do you agree with me on this point? My friends? My friends?
Yes, sir. We agree.
Yes, sir, exactly.
Exactly. So how, knowledge is created, how knowledge is compiled, how knowledge is processed. So somehow we face some problems and somehow we need the solution of those problems. So based on our experiences with life situation, we solve the problem, we get the solution. Slowly we used to compile that, and that becomes knowledge. So this is what knowledge means. And for the sake of clarity in we classify the knowledge, we classify the available corpus of knowledge, and somehow we develop certain kind of interconnection between various classes. So that becomes system. So this is in a nutshell Indian knowledge system. Now coming to the contribution of IKS, and again this is a very vast area, and I don't think 1.5 hours will be sufficient to cover all the contributions of Indian knowledge system. Definitely, there are so many areas in which IKS has contributed, but mainly these are the 6 areas in which IKS has contributed, and these have been written on the slide. So can you see the slide? My friends, can you see the slide?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah. How many areas I have identified?
2, 4, 6, 7 areas?
Six.
6 areas, like sir. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
6,
what
sir.
are these? What are these?
Philosophy, maths, science and technology, applications of sciences, science and technology, health, government and public administration.
Right, right. So in a nutshell, I'll be focusing on these 6 areas in which contribution of IKS there. Though there are various other contributions of IKS as well. So let's start with philosophy. So immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there in the field of philosophy, and accordingly we have Indian philosophical systems. So 5 points under this category have been mentioned on the slide, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. Any one of you, please read it.
Swahab, are you going to read it? Swahab?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Please read it.
Sir, actually, Swahab is there also. He's also kept the mic on, so I think he is going to read it.
Sure. Let him. Please read, my friend. My friend. Please read the slide.
I think, sir, I think he's having some issues.
Okay,
Okay,
so
and
yeah.
may I read?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Okay, so this is Indian philosophical system. There are 2 classes of philosophical system: Vedic school of philosophy. It's Samkhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika,
Mimamsa,
Mimamsa, and Vedanta.
right.
And non-Vedic schools: Jainism, Buddhism, and
Charvak philosophy.
Charvak philosophy. And then the Indian philosophical system provides a true worldview and a vision for life and help us resolve the issues that we face in our life.
Right.
The teachings of Upanishads suggest that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life.
Right.
Unlike the Western counterpart, the Indian philosophical thought is closely intertwined with the religious thought. The ultimate goal of human life is closely spelled out, and the path for attaining the same is also articulated in all the darsanas.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Indian philosophical system, one of the oldest in the world. So, if you see 9 orthodox schools of philosophy we have in India, out of which 6 believe in Vedas. So they are Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Whereas 3 philosophical thought, they don't have faith in Vedas, and they are Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvak philosophy. So these 9 orthodox schools of philosophy in India we have. Here I will be putting the opinion of Max Muller, one of the great Indologists. And Max Muller said that Vedanta period is, Upanishad period is almost of 1500 BC. So if you talk about Upanishad period, then it means from today, 3,500 years ago, Upanishad period was there. And Vedas period was even older than that. And if you see the Western school of philosophy, so philosophy propagated with the work of Thales, whose area would have been around, I think, 500 BC. So in comparison to Thales, I mean, at least, somehow 2000 years or 1500 years ago, I mean, Indian philosophical system was evolved. And similarly, there is one philosophy, realism, which is supposed to be started by Aristotle. So if you'll go through Jainism, you will find plenty of resemblance between realism and Jainism. Similarly, there is plenty of resemblance between Vedanta and idealism. But Vedanta is much older. Jainism is much older in comparison to idealism and in comparison to realism. Similarly, there is one philosophy, humanism. So came into existence around 1500 AD. It has very much resemblance with Buddhism, but Buddhist period is much older. I mean almost 2000 years older than humanism. It started around 500 BC. Similarly, there is another philosophy, Charvak philosophy, again much older, and it very much resembles with another philosophy, that is naturalist philosophy, Western philosophy. But Charvak philosophy is much older in comparison to naturalist philosophy. So Indian philosophical system basically was unique. And why? Because it provided a true worldview and a vision for life. And even so many of our thoughts today, so many of our culture, so many of our customs, somehow they are based on these great philosophical traditions. If you go through the Upanishad, you will find that, attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. Another important aspect of Indian philosophy is that Western philosophies somehow separate religion from philosophy. But if you'll see Indian philosophies, so they don't separate religion from philosophy. Somehow in Indian philosophy, religion and philosophy both are intertwined. And ultimately, in every philosophy, the ultimate goal of human life is closely spelled out. And not only it is closely spelled out, clearly spelled out, rather how we are going to attain that, it has also been mentioned, it has also been articulated. So philosophy is such an area in which you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. Another area in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there, and that is mathematics. So for the sake of clarity, again, mathematics is very wide, and so much contribution of Indian knowledge system you will find in mathematics. But for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have just taken 8 areas, and these 8 areas have been mentioned on this slide. And I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, please read it.
Yes, sir, I am reading.
Sure.
Mathematics.
Yeah.
Number system. Concept of zero and decimal system.
Right.
Next one, measurement for time, distance, and weight.
Right.
Third one, geometry. Property of right angle, triangle, concept of circle and pi.
Right.
Next one, arithmetic, square root, series, and progressions.
Right.
Trigonometry, Jaya and Kojia.
Yeah.
Algebra, Aryabhata wrote Ganita Pada.
Yeah.
Next one, binary system, Laghu and Guru.
Right.
Next, astronomy, concepts of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar, eclipse, Tirthi, Nakshatra, and Panchanga, the Indian calendar system.
Right. Right. Who are you, sir?
Sir, I am Suhaib Qayyum from Department of History, Aligarh Muslim University.
What's your name, sir?
Suhaib Qayyum.
Suhaib. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Suhaib. Okay. Thank you. So, as Suhaib sir just read, in fact, you see, these are the areas in which you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. So, number system, the moment I say number system, I don't say that in other civilizations, knowledge of mathematics was not there. Definitely in Mesopotamian civilization or Egyptian civilization, definitely Chinese civilization and Roman and Greek civilization, in Arabia itself, mathematics of knowledge was there. But what's the contribution of Indian knowledge system? Somehow these people didn't know about zero. So our contribution is that we familiarized them with the zero, as well as we gave the decimal system. Similarly, we had the unit for measuring time, distance, and weight. And if time is bigger, we have different unit. Time is small, we had different unit. Similarly, distance and weight bigger. So definitely we had different unit. For the smaller distance, smaller weight, we had different units. Similarly, in the area of geometry, particularly property of right angle triangle, our mathematicians studied so many theorems, so many corollaries, they gave it. And concept of circle and pi, they gave it. And in arithmetic, particularly square roots, series, and progressions, they studied, and so many formulas they give. Then comes trigonometry. So in India, in fact, the knowledge of astronomy was very advanced. Astronomy was a very important subject of study in India in ancient time. And in order to study astronomy systematically, methodically, clearly, you have to have the knowledge of trigonometry. So our people were very good in astronomy, And definitely they had the good knowledge in trigonometry as well. So ja and koja, I mean, in English, the moment we use nowadays trigonometry, that we use sine and cosine. So sine is ja, and of course cosine is koja. So these people had the knowledge of trigonometry. Similarly, algebra. So originally, invented, or you can say born in algebra was born in Arabia, but definitely our mathematician, they worked a lot in the field of algebra, and particularly one scientist, Aryabhatta, who wrote Ganit Pada. And in this book, I mean, so many things, so many corollaries, so many theorems of mathematics have been discussed, but one whole area of this book has been devoted to algebra. Similarly, we had binary system, as we have 1 and 0. Nowadays, whole computer work on binary system 1 and 0. So similarly, we had binary system Laghu and Guru. So Laghu was bigger unit, Laghu was a smaller unit, and Guru was bigger unit. Then comes astronomy. So do you know what Panchanga is, my friend? Have you seen Panchanga? Any one of you? What's your opinion, my friends? My friends?
Yes.
Have you seen Panchanga? No? Panchanga was basically Indian calendar, so in which these tithis, nakshatra, and solar and lunar eclipse and all those things were discussed in detail. So if you see today's calendar, it talks about date, it talks about holidays, it talks about days, I mean, something like that. But Panchanga was a very comprehensive calendar in which all those things were mentioned. So in a nutshell, these were the areas related to mathematics in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system was there. Now, let's come to another area where immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there, and that is the field of science and technology. So I have identified 8 areas again under this category where immense contribution of IKS is there. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, any one of you, please read the slide.
Yes, sir. I am reading, sir, again.
Sure, Swayab, sir.
Science and technology, yes. Mining and ore extraction, particularly gold extraction. Then production of zinc. Technique of downward drift reduction distillation process was used, which is now used as a modern process of all over the world. Next one is metals and metal working. Particular mastery over iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys. Smelting of iron. The Delhi iron pillar. This is an example. Manufacture of steel, woods steel. Then mercury mentioned in Karaka Samhita. Charaka Samhita. Yes, sorry. Charak Samhita. Yes, sir. Okay. Was used in the amalgamation process for the extraction of silver and gold.
Right.
Yes. Lead and silver, Kautilya or Shastra mentions silver coins of definite weight. Then last one, lost wax casting of idols and interfacts.
Right, Swayab, sir. Thank you, my friend. So these are the areas under science and technology where immense contribution of IKS you will find. So mining and ore extraction, particularly gold extraction. So gold was very important in our society. And the moment I'm saying it was important in our society, then it was not important only for women. Somehow it was important for men as well. So if you see the old kings and noble people, I mean, the rich people in the society, people belonging to high socioeconomic strata, all used to wear gold. So gold was very important in our culture, in our society. And techniques were there, technology was there to extract the ores of gold. Definitely those technologies would have been different from today's technologies, of course, but certain kind of technology was there. Then production of zinc. And in ancient India, I mean, one technique was used, and that is known as downward drift reduction distillation process. And how important this technique is, that even in today, in most part of the world, this is a technique, that is downward reduction distillation process, through which zinc is produced. Then our people had particular mastery over iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys. So what are alloys, my friends? My friends, please respond.
So two or mixture of two or more metals.
Yeah. So you are going to mix iron with zinc, iron with nickel, iron with copper, or I mean, two or more than two. So nowadays they are talking about alloy wheel in the cars, isn't it? My friends, have you heard about it? My friends, alloy wheel, you have heard? Okay. So what's the beauty of alloy wheel? Somehow, I mean, it becomes very strong. The moment you are going to mix two metals or more than two metals in some fixed ratio, so that becomes very strong. That becomes very important, So our people had the knowledge about, how to make the alloys from iron, steel, zinc, and copper. Then smelting of iron, and a very classic example is Delhi iron pillar, which you can see. And then manufacturing of steel. And there was one particular type of steel, that was Wood's steel. So have you heard about Wood's steel, my friends? My friends, do you know what Wood's steel is? Okay. So
No,
it's,
sir.
yeah, sure. Please tell.
No, sir. I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Okay, no problem. So this is a particular type of steel in which carbon component is more. So in every type of steel, carbon component is there, but in Wood's steel, it is more. It is more in quantity in comparison to the other types of steel. That's why this type of steel is particularly used in making the weapons. And later on, one blade, Damascus blade, that became very famous in the medieval period. And it is said that, this Damascus blade, the manufacturing of Damascus blade was based on the technology of manufacturing Wood's steel. And basically, this Wood's steel technology reached to Damascus from India. So that was another peculiarity and their contribution in the field of science and technology. Then comes mercury. And before I am telling about mercury, I would like to know from you people, do you know what's the peculiarity of mercury? Uh, do you know any peculiarity of mercury? Can you tell me, my
When
friends?
it's liquid state,
It is in liquid state. Okay, my friend. Any other peculiarity?
It is used in thermometers, sir.
Right. So mercury has two peculiarities. Number one, it's the only metal which is in the form of liquid. All the other metals, you talk about iron, you talk about zinc, you talk about nickel, you talk about anything, I mean, gold, silver, asbestos, whatever you talk, all the metals are in solid form. But mercury is the only metal which is found in liquid state. This is one peculiarity. And the peculiarity, it's very heavy. So if you compare it with water, so it is 13.6 times heavier than the water. So whatever the weight of 1 liter of water you will get, if you'll have 1 liter of mercury, it will be 13.6 times heavier. It's much heavy. And what was the peculiarity in ancient time of mercury? Basically, mercury was used in the amalgamation process of the extraction of silver and gold. And since silver and gold both were very important in our society, in our culture, so definitely mercury was somehow used to extract silver and gold. And it is very clearly mentioned in Charak Samhita. And Charaka was a great scientist, and he has given so many theories. He has written a lot. And whole book Charak Samhita is available. So he has mentioned about mercury, how mercury was used, how mercury can be used in the extraction of silver and gold. Then comes knowledge of lead and silver. So Kautilya's Arthashastra definitely mentions about silver coins of definite weight, of course. And then last wax casting of idols and interfacts. So these were the areas under the category of science and technology through which you can see the contribution of IKS. Now, I'm coming to the another area, And again, that area is related to science and technology, but this is related to particularly the applications of science and technology. So what IKS has contributed to the applications of science and technology, I have identified 7 such areas which have been mentioned on the slide. And I would like to request any one of you to please read it.
Okay, sir. Let me read it.
Sure.
First one is architecture, Vastu Shastra and town planning, unitary buildings, residential buildings, and royal palaces. Irrigation and water management, dyes and painting technology, the art of making perfumes, surgical techniques, shipbuilding, 64 art forms, kalas.
Right. So you see, have you heard about Vastu? What is Vastu, by the way?
So as per the slide, it's related to architecture, Vastu Shastra.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I have made this slide, so definitely it is related to architecture. But I wanted from you people, what वास्तु is? कभी नाम सुना है इसका वास्तु का? काफी आजकल बातें होती हैं इस पे. फरहा मैम?
Yes, sir, I have heard about it.
बताइए क्या है ये?
Vastu Shastra. But I can't explain this, sir, in proper. Yes.
Okay, no problem. I'm making your job easy, no problem, ma'am. So
Yes,
you
sir,
see,
yes, sir, please.
simply, I mean, we are going to construct some house. So where will be the dining hall? Where will be the kitchen? Or where will be the dining room? Where will be the bedroom? So that we may get more and more, ventilation, more and more air. How the construction should take place so that in the summers it might be cooler and in the winters it might be hot. I mean something like that. तो वो उसको हम कहते हैं वास्तु. और आज के दौर में काफी इसके बारे में बात हो रही है. I mean there are so many specialists of Vastu. So if you see the ancient architecture, I mean it was purely based on Vastu Shastra. Another thing that I would like to share with you people, and I'm quite sure you people are aware with this. Nowadays, I mean, you will feel and you have experienced that most of the people are lacking vitamin D. Have you heard, my friend? Friends?
Yes, sir.
विटामिन डी की कमी हो रही है ना? हो रही है?
Yes.
सुना है आप लोगों ने?
Yes, sir. In apartment or flat culture, so they don't receive sunlight.
No, sure,
This is the main reason, sir.
That's it. I mean, there might be other reasons as well of this,
Yes,
vitamin D deficiency. But one major reason is that, unfortunately, our houses, our apartments, our flats are made in such a way that hardly we get the sunlight. And this is one of the main reasons that we are vitamin D deficient. बहुत ज़्यादा. And even in metropolitan cities, what the doctors say, 70 to 80 people. And even in smaller cities, I mean, again, you will find plenty of deficiency of vitamin D. So, ये वास्तु जो है वो somehow how we can get more and more ventilation, sunlight, how the rooms might be airy, कहाँ पर कौन सा कमरा हो, किस तरफ की एंट्री रखी जाए, दरवाजे किस तरफ को रखे जाएं, लॉन किधर को रखा जाए, कैसे कंस्ट्रक्शन किया जाए, somehow like that. So if you see at that time when the town planning was there, mainly there were unitary type of buildings, or residential building, or royal palaces. So far as it is unitary buildings, residential buildings, or royal palaces, everywhere, somehow Vastu was very important, and town planning was done based on the Vastu. Then comes irrigation and water management system. So water was very important at that time. Even water is very important today for us. There is no life without water. But today we have so many important and so many, efficient machines, submersible pumps, which can extract water from 500 or 600 feet underground. So things are easy for us. But, at that time it was very difficult. So they used to have wells, they used to have springs, they used to have rivers and ponds. और फिर उसकी बड़ी हिफाजत करते थे. So there were some ponds reserved for washing purposes. There were some ponds reserved for the cattles. There were some ponds especially reserved for drinking water. And they made such type of arrangements so that they might use more and more rainwater So certain kind of rainwater harvesting system was there. Definitely that technology would have been different from today's technology, but certain kind of rainwater harvesting system was there. Even I have seen in Bhopal, I mean, that is not very much old. So that might be, I think, 300 years old. So a very good system was there. There are so many ponds. The system was like that. One pond will be filled from the rainwater. So water will come to the second pond, then second pond will be filled, then it will come to the third pond, something like that. And system was made like that. Throughout the year, we may have the water. So our people, they had the technology of irrigation. They were familiar with the water management, and they were familiar with the rain water harvesting. Then they had the knowledge of dyes and painting technology. They know how to make perfumes. Then surgical technique. And there was one great surgeon, Sushruta. Sushruta spent his whole life in developing surgical instruments, and in doing surgery. And what Sushruta did, in fact, he very closely, minutely observed the beaks of various birds. So if you see, the sparrow's beak is different from eagle's beak, and eagle's beak is different from falcon's beak, and the falcon's beak is different from crow's beak, something like that. So he used to observe these birds, and accordingly he designed so many surgical techniques. And I have gone through the books in which it is claimed that Sushruta used to give anesthesia as well, but definitely that anesthesia was based on the local herbs, and on the medicinal plants, not based on the chemicals. So our people were familiar with surgical techniques as well. Shipbuilding, definitely they knew about it. And then Van Bhatta has mentioned 64 art forms. And if you'll go through the document of National Education Policy 2020, you will find that these 64 kalas have been mentioned. So all these were the areas under which you will find the immense contribution, and that comes under the category of applications of science and technology. Now I'm switching over to another area again, which was very important, and where you will find the immense contribution of Indian knowledge system, and that was the health. So 7 points I have deliberately chosen so that you might understand. So these 7 points have been mentioned on the slide, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, please read the slide.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir, I am reading. Okay. You can read.
So Abha, you can continue. You can continue. No
Yes,
issues.
please. Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, health, Ayurveda, a way of complete health. Next one, yoga for holistic health and wellness. Traditional and spiritual intelligence. Next one, disease management, diagnostic technique and surgery. And next one is drugs and physical therapy.
Right.
Sleep and food, impact on health. Next, the body, mind, intellect, consciousness, complex.
Complex.
Last one, the Pancha Kosa,
Yeah.
a five-layered existence. This
Annamaya
difficult to
Kosha.
pronounce, sir.
Yeah.
Ananamaya Kosa.
Pranmaya
Then
Kosha,
Pranmaya Kosha,
Manomaya Kosha,
Manumaya Kosha,
Vigyanmaya Kosha,
Vigyanmaya Kosha,
and
and
Anand.
Anandamaya Kosha. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes,
You
that
have to
is right.
pronounce it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sir. So health, and before I'm proceeding, let me clarify it that our ancient people had the concept of holistic health. A holistic health is that health which ensures about physical, mental, moral, emotional, and spiritual health. So today's concept of health, I mean, if you have some disease, or if you are suffering from some problem, or your leg or hand is broken or something like that, then you will be said that you are ill, and you are not healthy. But I mean, there are so many people who are physically healthy, but unfortunately spiritually and morally and mentally they're not healthy. So ancient time, concept of holistic health was there, and there were two sources of holistic health. One was Ayurveda and another one was yoga. Now at this juncture of time, let me explain one thing more. So nowadays, psychologists have defined emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence. So have you heard about it, my friends? My friends?
No, sir. No, sir.
No. Anyone
Yes.
else? Farha ma'am, Ashraf sir, you people?
So, will you please repeat the question, please?
My question is, psychologists have defined emotional and spiritual intelligence. So have you heard about it?
No, I have not. No, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay, okay. So you see, emotional intelligence is related to the management of your emotions, how you manage the relationship. And spiritual intelligence is related to the spirituality, related to the existence, how much you are aware with your existence. So there was one psychologist, American psychologist, Goldman. So in 1995, he wrote a book, and in that book, he mentioned about emotional intelligence. So he studied some youths who were blessed with high IQ and who had a lot of bookish knowledge. And the moment they entered in their practical life, there was miserable failure for them. And through that data, in fact, Goldman concluded that only IQ is not sufficient to make you a successful person. Rather, you have to have emotional intelligence. And later on, after the work of Goldman, there were another psychologist. They identified spiritual intelligence. What's the uniqueness of emotional and spiritual intelligence is that through medicine or through some other way, you can't improve IQ. I mean, there is very difficult. It's very difficult to improve IQ. But emotional and spiritual intelligence can be improved, and yoga might be one such source through which we can improve emotional and spiritual intelligence. So, if you talk about health, so Ayurveda gives a way of complete health, and definitely yoga ensures that you have holistic health. And again, at the moment I say yoga, what by and large people think just pranayama. So pranayama is not yoga. Pranayama is just a tiny part of yoga. I mean, doing exercises and all those, it's a small part of yoga. So complete yoga is that in which you meditate, you think from where you have come, why you have been born, what's the purpose you are serving, what you are contributing to the society, and all those things. So through yoga, definitely we can improve emotional and spiritual health, intelligence, and of course, we can say that we are having the holistic health. Similarly, Ayurveda, I mean, it has its own importance. So these two are the immense contribution, very important contribution of the Indian knowledge system to the world. So our people, in fact, they gave so many theories. It has been mentioned. I mean, whether it is yoga or Ayurveda, so many theories available. And then disease management, as I mentioned, diagnostic techniques and surgery was there, drugs and physical therapy was there, and then sleep and food. So before I proceed further, I would like to take your opinion. My friends, please listen to me carefully and answer me. So, what do you eat? How much do you eat? When do you eat? How do you eat? And when you sleep, how much you sleep, and how you sleep? Do you think all these matter to your health? My friends, please tell me.
Exactly, sir. They matter a lot.
That's it. That's
Actually,
it. That's it.
I'm following some these doctors advised me to change some habits related to these. That's why for me it's
Yes.
exactly matter.
Of course. And particularly if you see today's world suffering from diabetes, suffering from abnormal weight gain, obesity, depression, hypertension, anxiety. So, so there might be so many reasons, but not having proper sleep and not having a balanced diet might contribute towards those diseases or towards those problems. So somehow our concept of health was that of a complete health. And we talked about panchakosha, as Suhaib sir said, Annamaya Kosha, Pranmaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vigyanmaya Kosha, and Anandmaya Kosha. Now, let's come to the last field which I have chosen to show you the contribution of Indian knowledge system, and that is related to governance and public administration. So 5 points under this category I have identified, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
Okay, sir. If is Farah ma'am reading the slide, or let me read? Okay. So it's about governance and yes, Farah ma'am, would you like to read
Yes,
it?
yes. What do you want, sir? You want
Would you
me
like
to
to
read
read?
this?
If you wish to read, you can read it.
Okay. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Governance and public administration. Do's and don'ts for a king. Arthashastra, science of logic and argumentation. Anvikshiki, the Vedas, Trai, economics, Varta, and governance. Dandaniti.
Yeah.
Second point is Kautilyan estate. Book 6 of Arthashastra mentions 7 elements that make up the estate: the king, Swamin, the minister, Amatya, the territory, Janapada, the fortified capital, Durga, the treasury, Kosa, the army, the Danda, and the ally, Mitra. And next point is the administrative setup: king and his cabinet, palace administration, defense, treasury, revenue, and law and order, civil administration. And the last point is the importance of dharma in governance.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, so this is the last area in which I wanted to show the contribution of Indian knowledge system. So there are so many do's and don'ts for a king. And definitely these do's and don'ts were based on dharma. Now the moment I'm using the word dharma, please don't be confused it with religion. So dharma is much wider, and our concept of dharma was based on our karma. So I am a teacher, so what is my teacher dharma? I am a commander of the army, so what is my commander dharma? I am a king, so what is my Raj dharma? I'm a husband, so what is my Pati dharma? I'm a wife, so what is my Patni dharma? I mean, something like that. So our dharma, concept of dharma, was based on karma. So very explicitly, there were do's and don'ts for a king based on dharma. Then if you see the book Arthashastra that was written by Kautilya, so it has so many parts. So one part was Anviksiki, in which, it's related to science of logic and argumentation, Vedastrai, and another aspect is economics, Varta, and governance, that is Dandaniti. And if you see the Kautilyan estate, so Kautilyan estate mentions about 7 elements. And the most important element is the king himself, Swami, the minister, that is Amatya, the ministers who help the king in running the administration. Then the territory on which the king is ruling, that is Janpada, the fortified capital where all the important officials live, and where the decisions are taken, and everything is there. So that is fortified capital, Durga. The treasury, Kosha, revenue, of course, army, Danda, and finally the allies. So in the last year, in the month of September, we conducted G20 summit. Our beloved country, India, is a member of so many organizations like G7, like G20. There's another organization, G77, then BRICS, and then SARC and ASEAN. So many. So what's the purpose of these forums? In fact, if you'll be a member of these organizations, so through the membership, we want to improve our economy. We want to have knowledge exchange, research, knowledge sharing and technology sharing. I mean, all those things. So allies are always needed. They always have been needed. And Arthashastra basically mentioned about these 7 elements of a state. Then if you see the administrative setup, so first layer of administration was related to king and his cabinet, of course. Second layer of administration was related to palace administration. Third layer of administration was related to defense. Fourth one, treasury. Fifth one, revenue. Sixth one, law and order. And finally, the last one was related to the civil administration. And everywhere, of course, in every aspect of the governance, there was the importance of dharma, which was based on karma. I mean, much wider, much comprehensive, much different from a religion that we understand. So these were the areas. So in a nutshell, what I have told before you people, the contribution of Indian knowledge system in basically 6 broad areas. So I started with philosophy, then I talked about mathematics, then I talked about science and technology, then I talked about applications of science and technology, then I talked about health, and finally I talked about governance and public administration. Now the question arises, what's the relevance of IKS? So this workshop, NEP 2020 sensitization workshop. So why in this workshop, we are talking about IKS? So what's the relevance of IKS? So definitely there might be so many, but keeping in view the diversity of my participant, in fact, I have identified 5 relevances which have been mentioned on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. Any one of you, please read it.
Yes, let me.
Yeah, please read it, my friend.
It's relevance of Indian knowledge system. Knowing and preserving the ancestral knowledge, transmitting it to other generations, creating a knowledge society, ensuring a holistic and multidisciplinary education, promoting
inclusive learning.
Yes, if these people are leaving, actually, it's blurring it. Promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge systems.
Right. So what's the relevance of Indian knowledge system? Definitely, every society preserves the ancestral knowledge. So we also want to preserve the ancestral knowledge. We can't preserve that unless and until we know. So even before attending this workshop, there might be some areas about which you didn't know. But I'm quite sure the moment you have listened to me, the moment you have attended this session, you people have been familiarized with so many things. So the moment we know, then we try to preserve. We can't preserve unless and until we know. So this is the first relevance of Indian knowledge system, knowing and preserving the ancestral knowledge. The moment we will know, the moment we will preserve, then we will be able to transmit it to other generations. So fortunately, we all are teachers. Definitely, every time we have the opportunity to interact with the people belonging to the new generation. So definitely, if we'll be knowing about IKS, we'll be knowing about ancestral knowledge. So definitely, through us, it might be transmitted from generations to generation. Then creating a knowledge society. So what is a knowledge society, by the way, my friends? What's your opinion? My friends, please respond.
Sir.
नॉलेज सोसाइटी क्या है? फरहा मैम, अशरफ सर, सुहेब सर.
जी सर. Knowledge.
So, according to me, what I can understand, knowledge society means everyone should have at least some basic knowledge about
basic knowledge as well as access to the sources of knowledge.
access. Yes,
that's very important. So ancient time or earlier time, if you see, there was a lot of knowledge in the society, but definitely access to that knowledge was not given to everyone. But since today there is the democratization of knowledge, so we want to create a knowledge society, that is a society in which everyone has knowledge and everyone has access to knowledge. We are talking about knowledge society, we are talking about knowledge economy. So definitely with the help of IKS, we can create a knowledge society. Then ensuring holistic and multidisciplinary education. So that education which simply talks about mental development and ignores the other aspects of our development, that is not a holistic education. So watertight compartmentalization of knowledge and all those things. So somehow that should not be there. We have to have a holistic and multidisciplinary education, and definitely through IKS we can have. Finally, promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge systems. Now, another slide that is before you. What's the role of IKS? So again, there might be so many roles of Indian knowledge system, but I have identified just 4 roles which have been mentioned on this particular slide. So any one of you, please read the slide.
So, sir, the role of Indian knowledge system in providing a sense of identity to the members of the society. Second point is in shaping the culture of the society. And the third point in utilizing received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. And the last point is in transforming knowledge into economic value.
Right. So definitely if you see French and Chinese and Japanese and Swedish people, I mean, all those people, then they have a sense of identity. They feel pride about their contributions to the world. So despite of all the diversities that is there in our society based on caste, color, based on religion, based on customs, based on geographical areas, we all are Indians. And I'm quite sure the moment we'll be able to know more and more about Indian knowledge system, the moment we'll be able to know more and more contributions of IKS to the world, we will feel a sense of identity. Then comes shaping the culture of the society, utilizing received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. So my friends, all of you are teachers, so I'm quite sure you will agree with me that new knowledge is not possible without having the old knowledge. Innovation is not possible without some basic knowledge. So what you do, you create something new based on something old. You innovate something new based on something old. You have new knowledge based on the old knowledge. So this received wisdom that we have, it's through centuries, so our people had the knowledge that has been transferred to us. So we have got the received wisdom. We will utilize this received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. That is the ancient knowledge, the old knowledge will be utilized in marching ahead on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. And finally, in transforming knowledge into economic value. So nowadays it is said that knowledge and economy both are highly related with each other. If you have knowledge, definitely your economy will be better, or vice versa. If you have a better economy, there will be the chances that you will be having more access to the knowledge or something like that. So somehow nowadays, I mean, muscle power and every other power has been replaced by economic power. And somehow this economic power is based on the knowledge. So long back, Winston Churchill said that future empires will be made on mind, on the use of mind, on the basis of knowledge. So definitely knowledge has economic value, and through IKS, definitely we can transform that knowledge into economic value. Now the last slide of my presentation, and it says about the advantages of IKS. What are the advantages of IKS? So I have identified 5 such advantages which have been mentioned on this slide, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
Okay, sir. In providing enriched learning experiences to the students, in promoting cultural understanding, in bridging the gap between the traditional wisdom and modern knowledge, in inculcating the problem-solving ability among the students, in bringing knowledge exchanges with other civilizations.
Thank you, my friend. So these might be the advantages of IKS. So definitely in providing enriched learning experiences to the students. So I mean, simply relying on our lecture or whatever we teach, I mean, we might teach mathematics, we might teach zoology, we might teach history, I mean, anything we teach. So the moment we will touch the aspect of IKS, we will touch the approaches of IKS, we will touch how in ancient time people used to teach, So through that, I mean, we will be able to provide enriched learning experiences to our students. Definitely in promoting cultural understanding, of course. And third one that is very important, bridging the gap between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge. So if there will be any gap between the traditional wisdom and modern knowledge, then we will not be able to reap the harvest of the traditional wisdom. So somehow that traditional wisdom should be utilized to create new knowledge. And if there is any gap, we should try to fill that gap. Then inculcating the problem solving ability among the students, how our ancestors solved various problems. I mean, there were so many issues, so many challenges before them. Their life were full of challenges. So how they solved those problems. So the moment we talk about how to solve the problem, the moment we give certain kind of training in problem solving, so slowly and slowly problem solving ability among the students is inculcated, is developed. So that might be the fourth advantage of IKS. And lastly, in bringing knowledge exchanges with other civilizations. So ours is one of the oldest civilization of the world. Similarly, Mesopotamian, Chinese, and Egyptian civilization, Roman and Greek civilization, Arabian, Iranian civilization. I mean, these are very old civilizations of the world. So through IKS, I'm quite sure we can bring knowledge exchanges, something other people might have learned from us. We ourselves might have learned something from the other people. I mean, through that, we'll be able to bring knowledge exchange with other civilization. So that's all. And thank you very much, my friends. Since last 70 minutes continuously I'm speaking, so I think now I should put an end to my lecture. It is 4:50 by my watch. Still we have 10 minutes. So definitely we can utilize this time in giving answers to your questions. Or if you want to share anything with me, definitely you can share with me. So now it's over to you, my friends.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. Ji, Dr. Aftab Saab. I
Sir, I'm
introduced
extremely
myself.
sorry that I could not introduce you.
No
Okay,
issue.
thank you,
No
sir.
issue. I introduced myself. No problem.
Because today was first class in B.Ed first semester. I don't want to miss that. And in between, we have started when I joined.
Right. No issue. So these people were very interactive.
Do you have another lecture, sir?
Yeah.
So I will introduce you formally, inshallah, for the next time.
No, there is no need. I have introduced myself.
Thank you,
So these
sir.
people
Thank you
were
very
very
much.
interactive.
Participants, if you have any questions or any observation, you can ask with sir.
And we know Professor Sajid, sir.
Yeah. Of course.
Sir, I have also attended one of the refresher courses that UGC had conducted in the couple of last years. And so this lecture was very informative, very insightful, and this really enriched our knowledge. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I will instruct.
It was a great lecture, sir.
Okay.
Very interactive and straight, lucid language, easy to understand, and that's what we expect from AMU.
Yeah, sure, Ashraf sir. So I will instruct Mazhar Zaidi sir to share these slides with you. So definitely, you can learn more. And it's a very vast area. Of course, everything can't be covered in just 1.5 hours. So just I tried to cover the maximum things. But if you want to know something more, definitely there are so many sources. And there are so many universities which are conducting especially refresher courses in this Indian knowledge system. So if you want to know more, definitely you can join those universities, of course. Yes, Suhaib sir, kuch keh rahe the aap?
Yes, sir, you have explained in so much comprehensive way. Sir, I have already attended your lectures last year in my induction program. There were so many lectures delivered by you. Okay. So, sir, thank you so much, sir, explaining IKS in so much details.
Okay.
Because this is also one of the part of ancient India. I have also taken a paper also. So this is also so much beneficial for me, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So
one question.
Yes, Ashraf sir. Please ask.
Sir, I think that we need to maintain a balance while understanding this Indian knowledge system. For example, if we are having a tilt, if we go hyper, then I think that that may not be much usable. For example, we have to integrate it with the contemporary technological advancement.
राइट 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 अशरफ सर, आप गाड़ी ड्राइव करते हैं, कार चलाते हैं सर?
जी सर, जी सर।
हाँ, तो देखिए उसमें बैक व्यू मिरर होता है ना सर?
हाँ सर, हाँ सर।
तो अब अगर आप हमेशा बैक व्यू मिरर ही देखेंगे, सामने नहीं देखेंगे, तो आप गाड़ी नहीं चला पाएंगे।
बिल्कुल,
और हमेशा
बिल्कुल,
सामने देखेंगे, बैक व्यू मिरर को अगर नेग्लेक्ट करेंगे तो तब भी गाड़ी नहीं चल पाएगी अशरफ
जी
सर।
सर, जी जी।
So a fine balance definitely is required.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So any other question? No? Oh, my friend, I thought that you will ask plenty of questions. That's why I gave 10 minutes. Otherwise, I would have spoken for the 10 minutes. Okay. So now should I leave, Dr. Aftab? What should I do?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice deliberation. Even though I was not present throughout your lecture, but I'm sure that what you have delivered is surely beneficial for our participants. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye, my
Participants, we have another session at 5:30. So please join with the next and another link for next session at 5:30.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you again, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
चलो 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 চলো হ্যাঁ গরু তো খেলতেই পারছে না গরু চলুন তো এবার